And what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Pnoid News. Man, listen, all right, this is, it's a strange time we're living in right now. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down how we got here, why we're here, and what the fuck exactly is going on. So, basically, at the moment, we're on the brink of a nuclear war with the country who can end the Earth with the amount of nuclear warheads that it has. And if I'm honest, I think, you know what I'm saying, like, our fucking government is literally at this point so incompetent, it's fucking dangerous. Well, let's see how we got here. All right. Well, this all kind of really began right back in the 1940s. And, during the 1940s, we had two nuclear weapons.
The Nevada desert in America is the scene of the latest atomic test.
Basically, what this did was it eliminated the need for
military and civil defense authorities making a study of the test.
To have to fight wars because, like, we got to the point where literally the only individuals who could conduct war
were
governments.
A whole town of specially chosen types of buildings
these
with dummies
wars,
inside
World War
them,
I
has
and
been
World War II
erected
were so
to
bad
study
that
survival chances in an
again.
atomic explosion.
And, that's a great thing. Like, everybody
Town,
wanted peace.
The buildings and their
right?
contents
But the problem
will
was
test the
that
effect of the bomb at distances ranging from 1
the way
to 2
we got
miles.
peace was not
the extent
really
to which food will be
sustainable,
contaminated by
right,
radioactivity will also be studied.
So
along
basically,
with the
what ended up happening is
fully protected cameras can see.
The U.S. stood here and floated his, like Navy across the entire world to protect everything, right? Now, with that being said, we have what was known as the Bretton Woods World Order, okay? Basically, the entire world ran on the United States dollar. And the U.S. dollar up until 1972 was, linked to $47 an ounce worth of gold, right? And basically, this was able to be traded on by countries and extremely large banks. That's really, the agreement that we made with everybody, right? And then, we kind of reneged on, that mentality. Now, everybody hopped on the idea that, like, hey, look, we should get rid of things like things like racism, nationalism, like heritage, culture, all of these things in order to be able to go and, enjoy the places like the 1960s, right? Have really nice things, like join the middle class. Everybody can have this really good life, and be good, nice consumers, like, oh, this is Cleveland and, the 19 motherfucking 60s and shit, right? And this is, like Cleveland today. Right. And so this is kind of where we're really getting down to of why it is that everything's breaking down. Now, how did this happen? You know what I'm saying? In particular, well, wage stagnation. Really, when it comes down to it, we offshore jobs in the name of like having other countries be able to, be on our side because we were fighting against the Soviets. Right, this happened from 1945 until, 1991, when, the Berlin Wall fell and the Soviets said no mas, and they ended up standing here, letting go of all these countries in Eastern Europe, right? Ukraine, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Finland, all these little Bulgaria, Romania, Azerbaijan, like all these places that most of us have no idea where they are on a map. Now, but during that time, we stood here and we said, hey, look, we will put our Navy out in the world and you can go and do trade wherever you want to go, right? And do whatever you want. And, the only real rule is that, you have to, let us basically write your security policy so that you'll fight the Russians and you don't do trade with the Russians, all like that, the USSR at that point. But that all kind of fell to shit once the USSR stopped being a country. Now, in the meantime, we've had a problem of where, we've stood here and printed our currency into oblivion, right? In order to float it around the world and keep our, social programs going and things of this nature to cover up for the fact that, like we stood here and, didn't really have the ability to, or we didn't really, like have the jobs to be able to back up all the, the stuff that we were doing in our economy plus security, our central planning that we had of our economy, right? Basically, it was like, hey, look, like fuck the workers, You know what I mean? That tended to be what happened. So here's the crazy thing. Like, as you can see, back in like 1960, the median house price and the median fucking household income were the same. But today, you know what I'm saying, it's a little bit different, right? You know what I mean? Whereas, you know what I'm saying, your income went up about like, you know what I mean, 20% maybe. Where, you know what I mean, the cost of a house, well, actually today it's much higher. In 2017, it's actually probably around 150 to 180%. You know what I'm saying, of, you know what I mean, like your actual income and shit. So like, you know, it's actually probably way more, because the gross median income's about $38,000 a year, and the average house at the moment is around $380,000 a year. So you figure it's about 10 times the cost of your income at this point. You know what I mean? And this tends to be a problem inside your society. And this is why, like, you're seeing things like racism, BLM, white supremacy, the white nationalism, you know, Jesus cells popping up, right? You know, and then you have, you know, fascism popping up all over the world again. Why? Because, like, the entire trade-off for this was, again, remember, you know, I mean, like, yo, you stand here and let go of all your heritage and your culture and your nationalism and all the things that you really care about. And, you know, I mean, you can join the middle class and be part of everything. Now, while we were going through this process, we also all moved into cities, right? Which ended up, you know what I mean, crashing our birth rates. Now, you know what I'm saying, you would stand here and think, you know what I mean, like, oh, you know, like, you know, this isn't like a major problem. But, you know what I mean, actually, I want to break some stuff down real quick, because I grabbed a whole bunch of information for this, because like I think it's important, right? So, all right, let's talk about this. All right, urbanization rate of South Korea, you know what I'm saying, which has the lowest motherfucking birth rate in the world, is 81.43% of the individuals live inside of there. Singapore, it's 100%, right? Another one of the places in the world, right? Macau, 100% urban, right? Puerto Rico is 93% urban, also on the top 5 list of, you know what I mean, worst fucking birth rates in the world. Japan, you know what I'm saying, 91% urban, right? Greece, you know what I'm saying, 79% urban. And you think it's just a problem of like Asia or, you know what I mean, the West, you know what I mean? It's not. It's really not. You know what I mean? And like you would think, like legitimately, that like it would be something that, you know, would only affect countries where, you know, like, oh man, like, as I hear guys like Turd Fling, I'm like, yo, man, you give women rights, you know, da 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 da. Sorta, right? You know what I mean? This is kind of where the mentality is. And so let's look at the worst rates in the Middle East, right? Because this is the Middle East: Saudi Arabia, Libya, Tunisia, Kuwait, Iran, Lebanon, Bahrain, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, right? And Bahrain, you know what I'm saying, its urbanization rate is 90%, right? Qatar, urbanization rate 99%. UAE, the urbanization rate's 87%, right? And just so you think, you know, I mean, like, oh, you know, they're about their female rights or whatever. You know, they gave their women rights or something. Women in Qatar must obtain permission from their male guardians to marry, study abroad on government scholarships, work in many government jobs, travel abroad until certain ages, receive some forms of reproductive health care, and to act as children's primary guardian even when they are divorced. Now, you ask, why are these, you know, these fertility rates and all these type of things a problem, right? Well, here's the issue when it comes down to it. Oh man, listen, I didn't make this big enough. Let me blow it up for y'all so y'all can see, right? Okay. Countries with large public pension systems in Europe appear to have the greatest problem. Citi noted that Germany, France, Italy, and the UK, Portugal, and Spain have estimated public sector pension liabilities at top 300% of gross domestic product. Unfunded liabilities is the issue. So basically, here's how this works. When the government makes a promise to you, right, what it's actually doing is it's saying, we will rob people who are born later in order to pay for things, you know, that we want to give you, you know what I'm saying, so you will vote for us. Well, the problem is when you're not having babies, that becomes a bit of an issue, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the mentality. So when you're not having children, this becomes a problem. So in order for them to be able to continue to pay for things, right, what they do is they bring in immigrants. which also, by the way, you know what I'm saying, has, you know, kind of, you know what I'm saying, like, here's this crazy thing right here, right? You know what I mean? Like, this is, you know what I mean, some banana shit. You notice, you know what I'm saying, like, the same time they started bringing people into the country, it's the same time, like, you know what I mean, like, we stopped fucking having raises and stopped having our productivity keep up with, you know what I mean, like, you know, fucking basic cost of living, right? Just something, you know what I mean, like, I wanted to kind of point out, you know what I'm saying, right? And this is not just a problem in America, it's also a problem in Europe when it comes down to it, right? So this ends up breeding this situation where you have human beings who literally just, you know what I mean, aren't part of a neighborhood, aren't part of, like, you know what I mean, their community, you know, and they don't trust their fucking neighbors. It used to be you keep up with the Joneses. Now it's on a level of where, like, you know, you just, you know, fucking have no idea, or you just don't want to fucking see the Joneses, and you think, like, they might be coming to rob you. Right. This becomes a major issue. And you also end up with the problem of, when, you know, men are not employed, you end up with the issue of having, you know, women, you know what I mean, you know, not get married, right? It tends to be a bit of an issue, you know what I'm saying? 72.5 of all black children. This is 2010, right? The number's actually more like 78 at this point. These numbers are way worse than they actually look like. I actually have some more recent numbers here. Actually, well, this is 2011, but, you know, 44% of women, you know what I'm saying, are never married at this point, who are single moms. Right, kind of an important thing, you know what I mean, to understand that our society is breaking down as we're, you know what I mean, going along. You know, fucking more little stats, you know what I mean, little dumb shit, you know what I mean, fucking 17.5% of all people 45, 64, you know what I'm saying, are on SSRIs, you know what I mean, 20% of everybody 65 or older. Everybody altogether, at least 10% of the countries are on fucking SSRIs. 66% of United States adults are obese. 29% of all United States children are obese, right? And, you know, why is it else that you would hate the world? Oh, yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? Like, yo, because they push this shit on your motherfucking children. You know, that's what they want your son to become. And, you know what I mean, you're kind of wondering why, you know what I mean, the world, the government as a whole is not trusted, and people in general fucking hate you. So let's get to the fucking thing at hand. All right, let's talk about Ukraine, okay? This is Ukraine, right? You know what I mean? Like, fucking, let me make sure this is the picture. All right, well, yeah, this is going to be the best picture I have for you. All right, so Ukraine is a country in Eastern Europe, right, that holds a city called Kiev, right? If you ever heard of Kiev and Rus, right, fucking middle fucking country right here. It's actually, you know what I'm saying, the first city that was ever Russian, right? The whole name fucking Russia comes from Rus, right? I mean, the SIA was added later on, right? Kind of important to understand, right? Okay, Kiev and Rus, Rusland, right? Kiev and Rus after 1054. This is from, you know what I'm saying, the Mongol invasions and shit. These were originally, Crimea was a Crimean Khaganate. You know what I mean? This was all part of Genghis Khan, you know what I mean, going across the fucking steppes and shit and conquering things, right? You know what I mean? So I want you to understand, like, how, you know what I mean, like, how much of fucking Ukraine is really Russia. It's quite technically fucking like the beginnings of Russia and shit. Here's a clip from fucking Washington Post. It says, fast forward a few centuries, see how the land that is now Ukraine lay on the margins of competing empires, was a region of permanent contests and shifting borders. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which at its peak encompassed a huge swath of Europe, had dominated much of the land, but Ukraine would also see the encourage of Hungarians, Ottomans, Swedes, bands of Cossacks, and the armies of successive Russian czars. In the 17th century, Russia and Poland split much of the territory of what's now Ukraine along the Dnieper River. Russia's advance continued a century later during the rule of Catherine the Great, who imagined her domains along the Black Sea constituted Novosibirsk, or the New Russia, a term revived by pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine. Back then, the Russian court harbored dreams of collapsing the Ottoman Empire and extended Moscow's reach to Istanbul, formerly Constantinople, and even Jerusalem. So, I mean, this is important stuff to understand because of the fact that, like, legitimately, Ukraine is basically Russia. You know what I mean? It's highly important to understand that. Let me give you some basic facts about Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Ukraine is currently our 67th largest goods trading partner. By the way, there's 200 countries in the fucking world, right? And it's number 67, so that puts it like middle of the pack with the entire world in trade with us, right? With $3.7 billion two-way goods trade during 2019. A lot of that is weapons. You know what I'm saying? Goods exported total $2.4 billion. Goods imports totaled $1.3 billion. The U.S. goods trade surplus with Ukraine was $1.1 billion in 2019. Russian trade is estimated that, you know what I'm saying, we fucking trade, you know, $34.9 billion with Russia. You know what I'm saying? We import $24 billion and we export $13 billion. Or we export $10 billion. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. We have a $13.1 billion trade fucking deficit with Russia, but, you know, just how the fuck it works. And by the way, this is a map of all the nuclear warheads in the goddamn world. The United States has 5,600. Russia has 6,200. This is not a country we should be playing chicken with nuclear warheads with. So to close, my premise is this. We are going to constantly see, from now on, more and more and more of these wars, of these separatist movements, of shifting borders. Because everybody put aside all their bullshit for a long time in order to participate in the greatest expansion of wealth and the greatest climbing out of poverty that the world had ever seen, right, for the past 100 years. And that's over now. We're done with that. And I know, like, a lot of these fucking bug men are going to go, automation, shut up, you're stupid. All right, legit, you're fucking dumb. Stop saying these words, because it's not a thing, okay? Like, yo, legit, we're not at post-scarcity. You know what I'm saying? Things are actually going to get more and more scarce. And the United States is no longer going to be holding up the ceiling because it's just not politically viable for them to do so. We're going to scream and we're going to bitch. Every citizen in the country is going to, every time the government tries to start a war, to continue to uphold its security policy that none of us approve of. It is what it is. But yo, in the meantime, y'all know how this works. Like, share, and subscribe. Tom Peace and Pnoid News. Peace be like one, my brothers. Later.